who is saying hello from Tarlac. Hello, Maria. Where are you guys tuning in from? Let us know. And once again, for people just entering, hello, welcome. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar session. Hi, Jomar. Good afternoon from Pangasinan. Yes, si Jomar napaka-aga niyan. Nasa waiting room na siya kanina pa. Seems that they're very excited for the learning session this afternoon. Good afternoon also from Jeanette. Good afternoon from Black. May mysterious pa si Jeanette. Good afternoon, Nolimar from Coronadal City. Yeah. Crystal from Quezon City. Hi. Hi also another Maria from Laguna. Good afternoon. Ayan, Lapu-Lapu City po si Jeanette. Yan. Ginhawang hapon po. Yes, to you rin po, Sir Alan. Yeah. Good afternoon. A magical afternoon from Enchanted Kingdom. Wow, thank you for joining us, Bella from Enchanted Kingdom. Ayan. Maybe you're working at EK, baka may mga downtime kayo dyan. Pero if you're going there for the enjoyment, sana makapunta ka naman sa mga rides dyan. Good afternoon from Pampanga. Ayan. Okay, we have a good amount of people in the call now. I actually wanted to ask you guys, no, since our learning session today is on Let's Get Digital. And that's embracing digital tools in a multi-generational workforce. Tatanungin ko muna kayo lahat. Ano yung, what is the oldest cell phone or device that you've ever owned? Why don't you type it in the chat box? Again, what is the oldest device or cell phone that you've ever owned? Siguro may plus points na rin yan if, yon, nakita ko na, if may make and model. We have si Mylen, sorry Ericsson, pero I think Sony Ericsson yan. Baka naano ka lang ng autocorrect. Si M, tsaka si Nolan, Nokia 3210. I'm not sure kung may 5210. Baka nga meron. Nolimar also na Nokia 3210. Ako rin. I will say right now, yung oldest device ko was Nokia 3210. Yung favorite ko yung kapag tinayo mo siya ng ganyan, tapos nag-vibrate siya, sumasayaw yung phone mismo. That was the oldest device that I had. Ayun yung pang text ko sa mga magulang ko. If sabihin ko sa kanila, nakakain ako, ganyan. Ayan, that is my oldest device. Ayan, we have more. Okay, we have a Motorola from Kathleen. Ayan, Sony Ericsson. Ericsson T10. Okay, some of these phones so I've never heard before. Diba? And the reason why I wanted to ask you guys, and thank you if you're also the people who messaged what their oldest device is. The reason why I wanted to ask that is because for sure the phone that you have now is not that same phone, no? Siguro in year after year, tumitingin na kayo what's the next device to get. We sort of grow out of these devices that we've owned before. And before, the features of yung device, Nokia 3210, wala pang, di ka pwede mag-FaceTime dyan, di mo pwede makita yung mukha ng kinakausap mo. But now with the new devices, we have so much more access to so many different things. There's really this a lot more positive things that you can get if you can embrace the new digital tools in the coming age. And that's what we're going to be talking about in our learning session today with Nikki. So, ayun, thank you again for everyone participating in that short icebreaker. If you have more friends that want to tune into this learning session, tell them that our room is now up. We're also currently live streaming on YouTube. If wala po silang bandwidth para makasama sa atin sa Zoom, you can forward them the link to our YouTube. Okay, and we will now start. So to introduce myself, my name is Luis Almazar, pero you guys can call me Alma. I am the Wellbeing Services Associate of Positive Workplaces. And I normally really host these free webinars because I want to be a messenger for a lot of the learnings that you guys will have within your month. We always start our learning session with the mission of Positive Workplaces, which is simply that we co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. How do we do that? We do it through what is called the positivity ripples. It all starts from the self. It all starts from each of you guys. We teach you guys to become better leaders of your own well-being by imparting concepts of well-being, how to be more positive in your workplace, how to spread these cultures within your coworkers. And when you know that, you can now start to lead others. And when you're already leading others and you gather a mass of people that know all these positive things, you can then start to influence these cultures like team cohesion, compassion, all the cultures na gusto natin makita sa workplace natin. And once we're able to achieve that, it paves the way for what we call positive workplaces. And that is how we fulfill our mission. So you guys joining us in this call right now, you are helping us fulfill our mission in positive workplaces. So thank you for that. So here's our free webinar series for the month. This is the last one. Earlier this month, we had Elijah Corpus, very great. She's the managing director and lead consultant of her own firm, Elijah Corpus Consulting, and she talked about bridging the generational gap. Earlier, later last week, I was the speaker alongside my very wonderful co-host and support system, Miss Gabby Liamzon, and we talked about keeping up with the trend. How do you lead millennials and Gen Zs? And to finish us off for this month, we have Miss Nikki Vergara, our Chief Wellbeing Officer, who will talk about Let's Get Digital, or how do you embrace these digital tools to help you in leading a multi-generational workforce. So I just have a couple of reminders for everyone here. So for one, we're going to be using a lot of engaging programs, no? So you can have another device ready, or kahit hindi another device, just a separate tab on your computer, and we will be sending links in the chat and flashing things in the chat so that you can participate in this session. My next reminder is to prepare a paper and pen for your notes, because there's a lot of really great learnings that you might want to write down. Next, I already love the engagement in our chat so far. We highly encourage that. Pero ang ano ko lang is, please be respectful to everyone else in the chat. And lastly, for those who are looking for an e-certificate at the end of the program, we will be releasing an evaluation form through the chat box. We will be sending a link. Some additional reminders for that: just make sure you write your full name. Don't be writing any nicknames. Don't write any code names. Full name lang po, kasi what you write there will be the one that will be reflected on the certificate mismo. So please be sure to write the correct one. And if hindi nyo po nare-receive ang e-certificate nyo, please wait at least 2 days before following up with the email, since it tends to get stuck since marami pong nagre-request. So we greatly appreciate your patience. So today we're going to be talking about Let's Get Digital, and joining us is Nikki Vergara, who is the Chief Wellbeing Officer and co-founder of Positive Workplaces, my boss, and she's ready to impart her learnings for all of us this afternoon. So without further ado, Nikki, I pass the floor to you.
Thanks, Alma, for sharing all of that. And welcome everyone to our session today. So again, I'm Nikki, and one of our big breaks in positive workplaces, I think what we're really known for in our webinars is talking about well-being, talking about how to reduce stress, creating a more positive workplace. One of our biggest breaks, actually, that we haven't not yet shared that much in this public webinar space, is actually the use of digital tools. It was one of our big breaks because when the pandemic started, the lack of adoption of technology, or the resistance that people were showing to the use of tech, is what was causing a lot of difficulties in the workplace. So our first consulting projects were that our biggest clients were on helping them really adopt technology in their workplaces. So this is going to be our learning roadmap for today. First, we'll talk about why is it important for the multi-generational workforce to adopt digital tools. Sometimes other people adopt it, sometimes other groups do not. So why is it so important that the whole workforce uses it? Second, what mechanisms allow workers to embrace digital tools at work? I'll take you behind the scenes about how to convince different people to use tools, all using the same framework. And lastly, very pragmatic, I want to show to you some digital tools and how you can utilize these in the workplace and how you can convince other people in the workplace to use it as well. So before I start, I want to ask you this question. What digital tools does your company or organization use? Try to name as many top of mind. You can either scan the QR code on the screen by turning on the camera of your phone and pointing it to the screen, or you can click on the link that are super attentive and helpful tech support. CJ is helping us with here today. So you can click on the link that he has posted. So let's see some answers. What digital tools is your company or your organization using? You're using your computer, you're using Zoom, or have not even heard of Pear Deck, Menti, and Pigeonhole we use on our webinars, Microsoft Office, my WordGen, my Teams, my Excel, Google Forms, and Docs. I cannot live without Google Suite anymore at this point in my life. Zoom, we're using it right now. You're using a tablet, you're using Facebook, you're using Canva, Seesaw. I think my mga teachers, Jen, Seesaw is a very educational digital app. That's great. Oh, someone is using Trello, G Suite, Canva, Zoom, Meta Business Suite, Gather, Viber, Google Meet, Aircall. Haven't even heard of that. I'll explore a couple more of these that I haven't even heard of before. Like Engas scanner, uh, printer scanner. It's a hardware naman. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing all of this. I think I will have a lot to explore. Like Airtable, I love using that also, especially for research. Um, yeah, very interesting tools. Spatial, I'll explore a couple of those. It looks like a lot of you are using digital tools. These days, it's hard to survive without it. So, why is it important for the multi-generational workforce to adopt digital tools? First of all, let me just close my things are popping in my screen for some reason on Zoom. So that is the okay. So digital tools help organizations provide a simplified and centralized platform for different generations. Dati, our place for collaborating, our platform, simply the office. But in the absence of physical spaces, because a lot of us are working from home or we are collaborating with people from different offices, different countries even, then we need to have these centralized platforms, and these digital tools provide that to us. It allows virtual collaboration. You can be working with someone from across the globe. It also allows virtual learning. You could be teaching someone in a different place or learning from someone who is not physically near you. So it's so important that we learn to adopt digital tools because the efficient working environment consists of these two factors. Kailangan agile. In that working environment, people have to move quickly and address concerns immediately. That's why the very long approach sometimes doesn't work out because we need to be adapting and moving faster. It also the efficient working environment also has to be collaborative. So people need to work together and open ideas to other workers. If you want employee engagement and efficiency, these are the two factors we have to be looking at right now in the world that we live in. There has to be a balance between face to face and remote leadership. You'll see that a lot of people are now working in a hybrid setup. Half the week they're at work, the other half they're at home. Or sometimes they'll only go to the office if it's needed. They'll stay at home if they don't have to be physically seeing another person. Another is the organization should be agile and should make use of digital tools. These really all allow employee engagement and efficiency in the hybrid working world that we're living in. So, what mechanisms allow workers to embrace digital tools and learning tools? This framework that I'm about to show you, you can apply to any tool. Let's say meron kang colleague na resistant to the use of tools. Or maybe you want to be introducing a new software or digital tool that you think will be really helpful, but you don't know how to do it. If you know this framework, it applies to all digital tools. So, first, I want to ask you this: true or false? The younger generations are easier to train and are more receptive to change, while older generations are rigid and don't learn new tasks easily. True or false? Go to Menti and share your answer here. Younger generations are easier to train and are more receptive to change, while older generations are rigid and don't learn new tasks easily. So based on the number of responses that we have right now, there's 38 people have responded. 80% of those of you who have responded said it's true. Younger generations are easier to train and more receptive to change, while 19% say it's false. So let's see some insights from research that I can offer to you to add more light into this situation. All right. So I think 80% no say true, 20% say false. Let's look at some things that research says. So research has shown that older generations still want to keep their skills sharp. Sometimes we have this stereotype that if a person is older, they do not want to adopt technology anymore. They just want to stick to their ways. But research shows that more than 8 in 10 workers from age 45 to 64 say that the opportunity to learn something new is critical to their view of an ideal job. So sometimes we have this perception that the older members of the workforce are very compliant and they just want to stay the same. But majority actually do want to learn something new and say that learning and doing new things is important for them to see that their job is ideal. Another thing is older adults are still able to learn effectively and acquire new skills. So training and retraining, that opportunity to learn something new is actually what slows or even reverses the decline in older workers' cognitive abilities. So for as long as they are continuously learning, their cognitive abilities won't decline. There's a phrase that we would always say. We say in psych, we say use it or lose it. Use your mind or else you will lose the skill to learn. You will lose the ability to absorb and make sense of information. So you really have to keep your mind active. Use it or lose it. So for as long as the older generation, they're still keeping their mind active, they're not deteriorating in that sense. So how can we keep everyone open to technology? I know we just have to bust that myth that it just because you are older doesn't mean that you are no longer open to learning about technology. Everyone actually is open, and this technology acceptance model is what helps us figure out how can we influence people to adopt technology. So if you want people to use the technology, kailangan the intention to use it is there. They won't use it if they have no intention to use it. And what helps one have that intention? First, they need to see that tech as useful. If they don't see it as useful, then they will not use it. Second, sometimes people see it as useful, but if they feel like they have to read an entire manual just to understand what it is, then they will be put off and they won't have that intention to use it. So kailangan din yung perceived ease of use is there. So those are the two things we'll always talk about. Kailangan nakikita ng mga tao yung benefit and kailangan nakikita ng mga tao na madali lang gamitin. So two things, benefit and easy, then they will have that intention to use it and they will actually use it. So for instance, let's talk about Zoom, where we're all in right now. What benefits do you get from using Zoom? Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link on the chat box. What benefits do you get from using Zoom? And we start off with this example because we're using it right now. What benefits are available to us right now? What benefits do you get from using Zoom? Oh, collaboration. Yes, that's true. Actually, right now, Alma and I are in the same space, but this is the first time that Alma and I have been in the same office because we've been able to collaborate without it because of Zoom. Working from home. Yeah, it allows you to work from home. It's convenient, maybe because you don't have to commute. It's easier to communicate. Sometimes it takes me like 30 minutes to draft a letter. But if I just say, hey, let's get on a Zoom call right now and I'll explain it to you, communication is easier. It's easy to use. It's accessible. You can. I know. There are even instances that, for instance, Alma has to go somewhere, but he has to be in a meeting, so he will be on his phone while in the meeting, and that makes the work accessible, diba? Para hindi rin sayang yung commute. It's user friendly, convenience, practical. You get to meet with others online. You get to do webinars, meetings, and collaborate. You can low cost. Some people don't need an office because instead their Zoom account is going to be their office where they meet. You get to do interviews overseas. See all of these benefits. You get to multitask. Let's say I hear this from lawyers na ngayon na pwede ng hearing ay through Zoom or online, they get to do other things instead of just waiting. Because the waiting time is what occupied a lot of their time before. Now they can actually multitask. And that could be true for you. Let's say you're just listening and pwede namang cam off and you can fold your laundry. I know someone who would do this as well at work now. While listening, they'll fold their laundry. It helps them pay attention better. For a lot of them it's free, diba? Kung office yung meeting space, magbabayad ka. But if it's just Zoom, there is a free option there. And yeah, you can even record. That recording is something that you couldn't do before. I was difficult to do back when we were not using Zoom. So great. These are great benefits. Now, you're seeing the usefulness. A lot of people, sobrang nag-triple yung stock price ng Zoom because during the pandemic, a lot of people were downloading Zoom. I think they raised their stock price by 400%, something like that, because a lot of people now realize, oh, it's so useful. But how about perceived ease of use? I want to ask you this. What features do you find easy to use in Zoom? Ayan, very interesting. It does not need a Google account. Walang barriers. It's easy to just log in, whether you have the link or the code, whether you've downloaded the app or not. Basta you have the link, you can then participate. You don't need an account. You can even annotate using the whiteboard. You can present easily with a share screen. You can draw information easily just by using the poll. You can record easily just by clicking a red button, right? These features make Zoom so easy to use. The buttons, the interface, very intuitive for people to use Zoom. My mom is so resistant to the use of technology. Pero Zoom, she enjoyed using it because the buttons make sense. Very clear naman yung pag-label ng mga different uses here. So it was so easy for her to just give it a try. So the next question is, how can we utilize these digital tools in the workplace? One thing is you have to lock it in the roles and the routines. The role is a function we play when we occupy a position in a social world. Let's say you are the leader. Let's say you are the attendance checker. That could be your role. Or let's say you are the technical staff. So if it's embedded in your role, if the tech tool is embedded in your role, you're more likely to use it. Also, if it's in your routines, which are the repeated, recognizable ways of doing activities in organizations. So if it's in your habits, let's say before I clock out at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., I make sure that I check my email and do a clean sweep of my email. So those are routines. I'll share with you some digital tools that we think would be really useful for you to use in your office, and we'll share with you when and what purpose they have. So for instance, for getting the sense of how your team is, you can use Moodlight for check-ins and check-outs. For brainstorming and project management, you can use Trello and Padlet. And for engagement and learning experiences, just like what we're doing right now, you can use Mentimeter. Let's start off with using Moodlight. All right. So let's say the first thing we have to consider is useful ba itong Moodlight? And yes, this is very useful because our problem right now is we are connected to each other through email, through um, Viber, Facebook chat, all of these different ways of speaking to each other. But what is difficult is sensing each other's emotions or sensing where like in terms of mood or emotional state, where are we right now? Because we don't get to express that on an email. Usually you see someone's mood by their body language. You're able to sense a person's mood by the way that they speak. But if we're just using emails and text, all that sensing of each other is lost. So it's so important that we get to still sense each other. Yan ang usefulness ng mood light. And I'll show you how easy it is to use Moodlight. So first, just make an account on Moodlight. Then click, when you open your account, just click New Group. And then you could say Demo of Moodlight. And then I will just click Create. And then copy the link. And then CJ will now paste that link for all of you in the chat box. And you can now report your mood there. So just click, find what mood suits you. The colors even help. Like for instance, right now I'm feeling kind of in the middle of joyful, but also calm. So maybe somewhere here I will feel, actually, I feel pretty fulfilled whenever I'm in a webinar with all of you. Kasi I feel na, oh, there's so much that I can share and there's so much that people are learning. So I'm fulfilled every moment that I'm with all of you. So I'll click fulfilled and then I'll just click submit mood. It's that easy to use the tool. Let's see. People have been using it as well. Diba? In a face-to-face workshop, I think masisense ko how you're all feeling. But because we're not together physically, I only see some of your names. Sometimes people will turn on their cameras, but I can't get a full sense of everyone. This tool is going to help me see how you all are feeling. I think ang majority color natin ngayon ay more on the yellows and the greens. The biggest one is 5. People are interested, meaning they are curious or concerned about something or someone. So that kind of tells me, oh, we're on the right track in the way that we are facilitating this webinar. So thanks for sharing that. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge some people are feeling paranoid and tense. It's so important to get that view or get that understanding. Because let's say we were in a meeting and you're feeling tense. I would want to find a way to reduce that tense feeling so that I can help you focus, I can help you stay productive in the day. And the very first step is awareness. So if I was able to know why you are tense, or if I could lighten the mood in the room so that the tension is not so heavy, then that's something I will do knowing how you feel. Other moods are, some people are feeling exhausted right now. So I hope this webinar is actually a safe space for you to just listen and learn. You don't have to, put out so much of your energy. You can use this space to conserve your energy. So Moodlight has been super helpful for me in getting the sense of people. Kamusta sila, even if I do not see them face to face. And we have 84 moods here. That already gives us a picture of how everyone in this room is feeling. I want to acknowledge all the colors, and I want to tell all of you na no matter what you're feeling right now, these feelings are valid. We're all going through different things, and I hope that in this webinar, I can create that safe space to either keep your interest or keep you at peace, or at least reduce some of the tensions or exhaustion that you're feeling. So that is Moonlight. Interesting tool. And I'll introduce to you another tool. I want to first know, are you using a collaboration tool at work? Can you let me know on Menti? Are you using a collaboration tool at work? It could be, examples are like Trello, Monday.com, or Asana. These collaboration tools that help you, um, collaborate and work with each other. Oh, so Valerie is using MS Teams in her school. We use that too. Very helpful, no? And it's free. So 35, 36 have said yes, and 14 have said no. So the nice thing is, in this webinar, I'm actually going to be introducing you to one of the digital tools that is free and is my favorite. I've been using it since it was introduced to me at work back in 2016. I've been using it ever since, and I find it super helpful, lalo na nawala na kaming regular office day. Ayan. Okay, so 73% said yes, 27% no, said no. I want to ask you another question. Have you used Trello before? Because that's actually what I'm going to be introducing to you. Have you used it before? I'll show you how to use it. It's quite easy. And if it's something that interests you, use it. If you need to convince your colleagues to use it as well, I'll show you how to convince them. Ayan, so 7 have said yes. Some people in the chat box also saying yes, like Edna, Christian, but many people also saying no, like Mark, Mylen, Errol, not yet. Actually, majority of us right now, 85% are saying not yet. And I'm so happy to introduce this tool to all of you. So Trello, I'm not a salesperson from Trello, but I just got this from their website. It's just that I find it such a useful tool that I want to share it with all of you. Trello is the easy, free, flexible, and visual way to manage your projects and organize anything. And it's trusted by millions of people from all over the world. That includes me. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So first, dun tayo sa perceived usefulness. Let's talk about, is this useful for you? First, I want to ask you, what makes project management challenging? You probably have managed a project before, whether it's a big one or a small team project where only 3 are involved. What makes it challenging? Can you share that with me on Mentimeter? What makes project management challenging? I can think of all of the whether difficult or other projects na manageable naman, but there's always a challenging aspect in it for me. So I want to ask that to you as well. What makes it challenging? So Mark Leo said communication, diba? Communication is hard, lalo na if you're not the type of person to want to be in constantly checking in on each other. Communication becomes a challenge. A lot of people are saying that as well. Keeping track of progress is a challenge. Timelines, organizing it is a challenge. Scheduling it and delegating is a challenge. Making systematic, pressure, internet issues, coordination. I don't know the progress of my team. The deadlines, finding out who will fit best for the task. Technology, keeping people on the same page. Daming kailangang, so many things to remember and check. Hard to, get people in a meeting kasi yung availability nila iba-iba. The sensitivity of the information. Sometimes there's team conflict. The due dates is hard to keep track of. The budget is hard to keep track of. There's a lack of resources. So many of the things that you mentioned here can actually be helped by Trello, for especially yung coordination, monitoring progress, communicating. That is something that Trello can really help you with. So Trello, what are the benefits of it? Yung pain points kasi of offline project management. Sometimes people get really disorganized, and I have to admit I'm that type of person. If you tell me something, I might forget, so I'll write it on a post-it or I'll write it on a notebook, and then I don't know anymore where I put that post-it or that notebook. It takes me forever to find it. Another thing that I don't like about it is sobrang daming back and forth. Like I can say one thing to a member of my team, and then another member of my team will ask for that same information from me kasi hindi ko sinabi sa kanila, I said it to someone else. So if there was a centralized space where all of that information is in, that would reduce back and forth. If you were using these digital tools for project management, you will have easier communication because it's all in the same place. Role clarity because you will see who is assigned to do what. You don't just assume na sinabi mo to sa isang tao gagawin na nila. You're really making sure the roles are clear. It also increases productivity and chances of success, which we all want. It reduces these pain points like burnout. Sometimes pag hindi mo alam yung progress, hindi mo alam yung patutunguhan, nakakapagod talaga. So you don't see the impact that you're doing, you could burn out. Sometimes as well, there are bottlenecks in decision making. You see that the only reason a project is not moving forward is because a decision has not been made on it yet. And sometimes a decision has not been made because people don't realize it's time to make a decision. Lastly, a big pain point as well is social loathing. I don't know if you've ever experienced that you're working in a team, but some members of the team work and some members of the team don't. And hindi nyo na-realize that some people are not working because the busy ones are so busy with the work. The unbusy ones are good at getting away with doing no work. So we could also avoid these pain points through a collaboration tool like Trello. Now, so I showed you that it's very beneficial to use. Now I have to show you how easy it is to use it. So all you have to do is to remember Trello has these three components. It has the board. That's where all of the information is stored. And then within the board, there is lists. That's how you can organize the information. And within each list is a card that usually stands for a specific task. And within each card, you can click it and access a lot more information. So that's all you need to remember about Trello. The three components are my board, where everything is, the list to organize the information in the board, and lastly, the card, which usually contains each task. So that's all you have to remember for Trello. M said it's similar to Notion. Yes, M, very true. I use Notion as well. I think the younger generation loves using Notion. I find when it comes to workplaces, people are more open to using Trello, and the benefit is also it's free. Notion is not free when you're using it with teams, but it's a great tool to use when you're just working on it by yourself. So, Trello, I'll show you how easy it is to make a Trello. First, you have to make your account, and then you have to click somewhere in your boards to create a new board. I'll call this one demo because I'm demonstrating its use to you. Oh my gosh, I think I clicked the wrong thing. Hang on. Create a new board, demo, create. Click create, not start free trial. Otherwise, you will be billed eventually. So this is the whole board already. And the lists could be as simple as to do, doing, and done. And that can be that can be your simple system. I urge you to, when you introduce tools, start with a simple system first. So to do, list everything that needs to be done. Let's say, for example, you need to create an event. You need to create a Christmas party. You need to send the invites. You can put it on one card. Another one, you need to make arrangements, order food from the caterer. So for every task that you have, you can put it on this one. And then If you're already doing it, just click the card, hold down, and put it to doing. And let's say you're already done. Click down and put it to done. And that's already an easy way for all of you to monitor the progress of a task. It's just by dragging the cards in the appropriate list. Whether it's something that still needs to be done, put it into do. Pag ginagawa na, put it in doing. And when you're done, put it in done. That's how easy it is to use Trello. But I'll share with you some more benefits of using Trello. But sometimes you forget. So everything now, you will be able to not forget because everyone is sharing the same board. They can then put all of their tasks in to do so you don't forget the tasks. Sometimes there is social loafing. You don't realize all of the tasks are being assigned to one person. Usually, the most responsible one gets dumped with all the tasks, but you need to distribute that. So on Trello, you can click on the card, then click members, and then let's say it's me. I'm the one who has to do that. Then I will then assign it to myself. When you put in other people in your boards, you can assign, let's say, okay, I'm the one who's going to order food, but the one who will send invites is actually click on the members, show other members. The one who will send out the other invites is Kurt. So I'll click his name and then kita na dyan, who is going, you will see who the task is assigned to. So kung hindi gumagalaw yung task, it's probably because that person is not doing their task. It's an easy way to delegate the task to a lot of people and also see its movement. Let's say, just an example, I put in more tasks like reserve the venue and pay the pay for the venue. Kunwari lang. Let's say all of these is, I realize because I'm the one heading it, I realize what I end up doing is assigning all the tasks to me. So if I look at the board, I will see, hey, bakit sa akin naka-assign lahat ng tasks? I think it's time to delegate this to other people. So that is a great use of Trello. You avoid social loafing because each task will have someone who is assigned to it, and you get an overview of the different tasks that people are doing. Another benefit, so you get an overview of everyone's task. Kunwari dito, I can see, hala, si John na lang lagi yung naka-assign. It means someone has to take load off of John, especially if he's doing other things. Sometimes we also forget the deadlines. So sometimes, do you experience this when you check, oh, let me check when's the deadline? It was actually yesterday. So when things get really crazy, I forget about the deadlines. So that's something you can put on the card. So go back to Trello, click on the card. Let's say, food caterers, you have to book them ahead of time kasi lalo na pag Christmas season, things get really busy. So you just click dates. And let's say this has to be booked by June 30. Click save. Now we will know the due date is June 30. And when you're done, you can actually click done. That's one way to monitor progress as well. So that's another benefit of this. We get to see when the due dates are. Another benefit is you get to organize information. Like I was telling you, earlier, sometimes I put the information in all sorts of places and I forget, is it in a folder in my computer? Is it in my notebook? Was it something that was not documented? Was it just said over a conversation? So it's nice that you have Trello because you can put all the relevant information in one card. Let's say order food from the caterer. You can then attach files. Let's say you have the proposal here or the menu. You can just click on the computer and then put in the file that you have and then click open, and then you already have the file there. Or you can even say something about it. That caterer, let's say, kunwari lang, is McDo. The caterer is McDo. This is their number, 8 McDo. Then, you're getting to put all of the information in one place rather than having to search through your threads, through your notebook, through your post-its, through your emails. You can just organize all of the information here as it comes. It makes everything, tracking everything and making sense of everything much easier. Kunwari, I'm the manager. I didn't I didn't instead of reaching out to a person and having them say everything again and again and again, I can just click on their task and view all of the details there. So it's so easy to use Trello. It's so easy to organize information through it. Oh no. Sabi ni Carla, nabudol ako to migrate from Notion to Trello. Hmm. Ibubudol kita in the sense na I use both kasi when you're with teams, I suggest Trello. It's much easier to use. If you're working on it alone, it's not that different from each other. So you can actually stay with Notion as well. And that's Trello. We have more time, so I want to introduce to you another super helpful tool that we use all the time in positive workplaces. Sometimes you see us using it in our webinars. Sometimes you will see us using it in our own meetings. So Padlet is a real-time collaborative web platform where users can upload and organize content into virtual bulletin boards. Think of it as that, a virtual bulletin board. First, I have to tell you, why is it useful? I want to ask you, when it comes to discussions at work, do you usually hesitate to speak up, dominate the discussion, or balance speaking and listening well? When it comes to work discussions, do you usually hesitate to speak up, dominate, or balance both speaking and listening? I can tell you for the first majority of my work life, I hesitate to speak up. I prefer to listen, get everyone's insight out there, and then I don't speak. So, hindi naririnig ng mga tao yung input ko. Let's see where we are at when it comes to the group that we're with right now. Ooh, wow, we have a balance. We have a 24 say they hesitate to speak up, 3 dominate the discussion, and 27 have that good balance of speaking and listening well. So that's great. I think wherever you are here right now, Padlet can definitely help you out. So here's a benefit of Padlet. This is the creative problem solving process. Ideally, you start with divergent thinking, meaning all of the ideas, get it out there. The difficulty with that is you don't have enough time in a meeting, or people, like you said, 27 people here hesitate to speak up. So, how can you get all of the ideas out there if there are people who hesitate to speak up, or if there's not enough time to give everyone a chance to speak? So ideally, in a creative problem solving process, we start with divergent thinking. We put all the ideas out there. You focus on the quantity over the quality of ideas. You you share as many crazy and novel ideas as you can. And your goal here is really to just create as many choices. When we then go to convergent thinking. Given all of the options that have been laid down on the table, you want to be able to analyze and filter which are the best ideas, which ones are the most useful, which ones you then make decisions at this point to lead you to the outcome that you want. So ideally, when we're discussing, creating solutions, we go through this entire process. So Padlet is something that will help you get all of your ideas out there, and I'll show you how easy it is to use Padlet. We'll actually use it together right now. So if you create an account on Padlet, you just click make a Padlet. So you just go to padlet.com, make your account, click make a Padlet, and then choose the format. Let's say the simplest format that I want is just a wall, all of your lists, all of your ideas just posted on a virtual bulletin board. And I just select that. So you already have your Padlet there. I prepared mine before the webinar. So I already have the link over here. I'll just copy it and I'll paste it on the chat box. And what I want you to do is put in as many ideas and activities you want to have during our 2022 Christmas party. Kunwari, we're all in the same organization and we now have to plan our Christmas party or even try to our first gathering. Ganun. For a lot of people, ngayon pa lang sila nagagather post the pandemic lockdowns. So put in as many ideas and activities you want to have during that Christmas party or gathering. Just click the plus sign on the lower right corner and say any idea. For instance, I want to do karaoke. Just sing my heart out. Karaoke, Secret Santa, raffles, inuman, um, a PW webinar attendees get together. That sounds like such a good idea. Okay, hanap kami ng budget para magawa natin yan someday. Because we only see each other here. I know the names, especially of the regulars, but I don't actually know what we look like. So I would love to have one. Ooh, great idea. A photo booth, a prayer, an intermission numbers. John would love to perform, and I know a lot of people in positive workplaces would love to perform. So I bet there's so much talent in this community as well. So that's interesting. Themed costumes, having a dinner, a mascot appearance. I wonder sino kayang mascot pwede nating kunin. Oops. Buffet, yeah, dancing, giveaways, an amazing race. That sounds like so much fun. So usually, if we're having a discussion, it's so hard to get everyone to share all of their ideas. Only the loud ones will speak up. The ones who hesitate will not get to share their really amazing ideas. For instance, someone might be shy na. Are we too old for a newspaper dance? But it sounds fun. So it's nice that you get to put in all of these ideas out there. So this is actually divergent thinking. We put in all of our ideas, no matter how crazy they are. Yeah, candle blowing for December babies, beer pong. Now, to go into the convergent thinking, we'll now go to voting. So how do I do that? I will just click on this and I will modify. So settings usually is the 3 buttons and I'll click modify. And I will scroll down and put a heart reaction. I want you to vote for the 3 best ideas, meaning for you, which of the 3 activities do you really want to do? Can you put a heart? So you have a maximum of 3 hearts each. Can you heart the ideas that you really want? For instance, I would really love I would really love parlor games. Yung mga kalamansi relay, I'll never get too old for that. So I put a heart on it. I'll put a heart on 2 other things like food and costume para fun. So let's see. Ayan. So now we're already getting to vote on the best ideas, given the ideas that people shared. And looks like people would really want a costume party, food, and gift giving or giveaways. So we get to see the ideas that people love and appreciate the most. And right, it was so easy to do that. Wala pa tayong 6 minutes. We already got to put all the ideas out there and we already got to start voting. So it's so easy to use Padlet. It's also free. It will help you in your meetings. I do suggest that you use this tool when you want to create a more creative solution generation discussion amongst members of the workplace or anywhere actually. So That is Padlet. Very easy to use. I see that a lot of you have been putting in a lot of ideas, and was not hard, was it? And the last one is actually Mentimeter. I won't go too deep into Mentimeter because you've actually used the tool a lot. We've been using it consistently across the workshop. Ano yung benefit ng Mentimeter? Again, di ba, when you want to introduce a technology, think about the usefulness or the benefit and think about how easy it is to use. The benefit of this is that we get to interact with each other. I was never the type of trainer or teacher who dominates the entire discussion. I love hearing your voices, your thoughts. I love getting a sense of where you are. I love making you answer questions and hearing your responses. So, Mentimeter creates that engaging and dynamic space for all of us, even if we're not physically together. And you know what? Even when I do face-to-face workshops, I'm still using Mentimeter because I want everyone to participate and share um, their ideas, their responses. Now I'll show you how easy it is to use Mentimeter. I've been using this Menti a lot, right? So what does it look like behind the scenes? I think this is the first time we're taking you behind our Mentimeter. When you make a Mentimeter, you will have something that looks like this. You just then create, if you want to add a question, new slide, and then what kind of question are you going to ask? Usually we ask you open-ended questions where you can say anything. Sometimes we put in a word cloud so that the that when people respond a lot of times, lalaki yung word na yun. We sometimes do quizzes to and then award prizes to people. We also sometimes have you pin on an image, right? Sometimes you see us do this like we'll put a picture there. Saang part ng body ang masakit sa'yo right now? The pin on an image helps us to, because people can then just point it out. So all of these options we get to see on Mentimeter. So for instance, I'll try it right now. Rank. Which tool? So you'll see this is the slide type ranking. I'll put my question in here. Which tool, which digital tool are you most likely to use now that you've seen it in this webinar? Is it Moodlight? Is it Trello? Is it Padlet? Or is it Mentimeter? And then if it's time to run it, I will just click present. The link is actually here. It's a copy link. Okay, I can even share the QR code. So which one are you most likely to use? Scan the QR code and then share that with us. Rank it. Rank which digital tool you're most likely to use after this. Is it Padlet, Trello, Mentimeter, or Moodlight? Menti is so easy to use. It's like a very dynamic presentation. I actually prefer to use it over Zoom polls because you get to see the visuals, and even our viewers who are watching us on our YouTube, whether live or through the recording, they get to see everyone's responses. They won't see that on the Zoom polls. It doesn't show. Interesting. So with lots of responses, 60 responses, the number one tool is Trello, which a lot of people didn't know how to use for this webinar. And then Mentimeter, followed by Padlet, and then Moodlight. Again.
Very interesting. And that's actually the end of our webinar. I actually just want to say, if you found this useful, please follow us on Facebook. We're always sharing useful content to everyone. We dedicate a lot of time to do this for free. And our simple request from all of us, from all of you here, is follow us so that you can keep getting updates of all of the useful things that we share. And also so that we get to share it with more people. So please, if even if you have friends who you think would benefit from a session like this, just send them the link so that they follow us, facebook.com/positive workplaces ph. So yeah, that's the end of our webinar.
And thank you so much, Nikki, no, for sharing so much of your knowledge. And I feel like it's not yet over now. It's time that we open the question and answer portion for everyone. So I will be sharing that same code that Nikki was flashing. Ayan. So you may use your other device to scan this code, or you can simply click the link that our tech support is sending. Sana lang hindi siya matagalan from all the chat. Ayan. So you can easily click that link and ask any question. So don't worry. This is another one of our digital tools that we use that's very, very safe. No, you don't have to mention your name. You can ask the question anonymously if that's something that you're interested in. So, ayun, yeah. I want to take this time to ask you a question, Nikki. No? So, um, I love this journey that you're all trying to take us on, showing us the benefits um, to digital tools. My first question for you is like, what do you think is like your pinaka game-changing digital tool that was really able to help you adapt into like the future of work? Ganun.
I would definitely say it's Mentimeter. Um, our work, a lot of it is consulting and training, that's getting people's input and mirroring all that information somewhere. It was hard to imagine how we would shift from a face-to-face training in 2020 when all we knew how to do was face-to-face. It was hard to imagine how we would do that, shift from face-to-face to virtual and still keep the same quality. And Mentimeter allowed us to do that, and actually makes us very distinct, is a distinct training and consulting provider. Is how dynamic it all is. Mentimeter allowed us to do that even in a remote or digital or in a virtual setup.
So ayun, thank you for answering that, Nikki. I also saw some questions. If they're asking for attendance, don't worry, we'll be sending the evaluation form later. I guess you can use that to prove your attendance or a certificate of attendance for this webinar. So ayan, we have more questions here, Nikki. Any tips po for reducing distraction while using digital tools, such as using social media sites for playing games? This is great, no? Because with these digital tools and other technology, it's not always good things. There are some bad sides to it. So what's your response on this one?
Yeah, I know some digital, some, like whether you're on a tablet or on a laptop, I know there are websites that help you focus. You can search some of them. Let's say me, I end up scrolling a lot on Facebook. So there's this website that I went on to limit my Facebook use. Hanggang 1 hour lang ako per day. And if I can't, and if I reach that hour, the only thing that will appear on my Facebook is a quote. So simple hacks like that will really help you, because Facebook, these social media sites, they're designed to keep us engaged. We might end up spending all of our time just scrolling and scrolling. So that those external tools like limiting your Facebook use is one. If you're in a training, I know it's very old school, but actually putting your phone away or putting it on silent mode, putting it in a drawer so that you don't get distracted, sometimes is what can help you pay attention. How about you, Alma? I know you are of the younger generation who has been babad in technology. Do you have any tips for minimizing the use?
Ako, this might add to the cognitive load, no? But for me, very uso kasi itong tool nowadays. Ang tawag sa kanya ay Pomodoro or Forest. It's an application that allows you to use your devices but restricts certain websites. For example, you find yourself na madidistract ka, pupunta ka ng YouTube o kahit yung TikTok, ganyan sites like that. You can use applications like, again, Pomodoro or Forest. And I'm sure if you just find app management tools, if i-search nyo lang yan, may mahanap po kayong mga apps that you can use to to limit the usage of those apps. You can make it time restricted. Let's say you're gonna work from 8 a.m. to 11. You can set it for 3 hours. It's a good way to really restrict yourself. So it also comes with discipline. That for me is the best way to make sure that you're only using the right digital tools that you need. So yeah. Nikki, I'm getting a lot of questions here now for like, oh, can you link me to the tools and everything? And then are these free? Most, if not all of the tools that we showed are indeed free. There's some asking for specifics on Menti. If you can use more than 10 slides, yun na lang siguro ang limit for some of these free. May limit siya for free usage, but we don't want that to let you guys discourage you from using these tools since they really have um, good effect pa. What I can do right now is I'll give Nikki another question and I'll compile those links and I'll send that in the chat so you guys hear now. So Nikki, is there a question here that you're interested, very interested in?
Hmm. Maybe the so people are asking very technical questions, Jen. Again, I'm not a salesman. Nabudol ko kayo sa mga Notion, ganyan. Hindi ko ako representative ng Notion. It's just stuff that I use. I would just, everything that I've shared has a free use. Yung Notion, you can use up to 10 boards. Yung Padlet, you can have up to 10 Padlets. After that, you have to start deleting unless you pay. But I think even that is enough. Yung Menti, medyo nalilimit ako kasi 3 questions lang yung pwede mong itanong, or I think at this point 5 quiz questions. I feel a little limited by that, but what I used to do before was actually create 2 free accounts and then just change the magbabago lang yung QR code and things like that. But I suggest for all of these things, just use it. And if you think that it's worth the investment, start muna kayo sa free sample. If you think it's worth the investment, if it will really help your workplace a lot, then it's not too pricey, especially if the exchange is the productivity of your meetings and your work. So use it first and then see there's a websites, it will provide yung pricing and all. I think Alma, I believe, will be linking you to
Mhm.
those.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then that's great. Now, so if you're using it on your own, what you can do is you do your best. You really explore it, and then hopefully maybe you can pitch it to a higher up, a supervisor, or
Yeah.
whoever's in charge of giving the employees access to such things like this. And baka mabili ng company yan if they see the productivity in it. So yun, hoping the best for that. Nikki, I
Let's
saw a good.
answer that question, Alma. How do we
Uh,
encourage managers or supervisors
Yes,
to be more
this one.
open to digital tools? The same with the framework that I shared with you. If you show them all of the benefits and how easy it is for different people to use it, then you can make a case for your manager. So you can make a write up of all of the benefits of the digital tool, um, like how easy it is to use, and also what is the investment fee. You're giving your managers and supervisors enough information to make a good decision. Sometimes another thing that I would encourage you to do is use the tools with your team first. Eventually, if your team really experiences the benefits, a lot of people, the word actually gets around. And if there's more word getting around, more people informally using the tool, you can then even add that to share that with your supervisor that all of these people have been using the tool. We'd love it if you can support us by paying for additional features, paying for additional boards. And when the number of users is already there, when the benefit is clear, that really makes a case to your supervisor or your manager to put some investment in these tools.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Okay, what other questions do we have now?
Hmm.
Any, I don't know if it follows the same concept, Nikki, but any advice on how we can introduce or engage the older generation to use more of these digital tools?
Yeah, I will deepen that they have to see the benefit. Sometimes the only reason that the older generation finds it hard to use the digital tool is because they already have an existing system that already works for them. Usually the younger ones yung parang, oh, I need a system, I need a way to set things up. The older generations, because they've been around in the workforce longer, they already have a system that works for them. So first, I always say start with empathy. Try to understand what is their current system, how is it already working for them, and then link it to if you're seeing any pain points or any rooms for enhancement there. That's how you start introducing the tech tools. A lot of the times, tech tools are faster. A lot of the times, tech tools, you can say, for instance, yung Trello po, pag ginamit yung Trello, makikita na namin lahat yung information. Kaya, hindi na namin ikaw kukulitin at tatawagan lagi kasi nakalista na yung information doon. Mas makakapagpahinga ka or mas makakagawa ka ng iba pang trabaho kasi nagamit mo yung Trello. So, link the always start with the benefits. How can it improve their life? How can it reduce their pain points? But you'll only really know how to frame that when you know what tools are they using, what are their pain points, why do they have that current setup. When you have that understanding, it will be easier for you to present the benefits of the tool that you're sharing.
Yeah, it's really going back on that technology acceptance model talaga. Um, Ako yung personal ko dyan, because I think I've worked with people older. I think not in my work, since in my work, Nikki and John, they're not too far in age. But then I have worked with titos and titas that are so interested in these new tools that they learn from their coworkers. So nagpapaturo sila sa amin. Ako, the best way that I am able to get through to them is really providing them with the ease of use. Kailangan madali talaga. Like, you have to present it in such a way that is easy for them to understand. So kahit you show the pinaka-base, the simplest way, like once you're able to enter just that interest sphere of theirs, kakayanin na yan, especially if it mixes with yun nga, yung perceived usefulness. No? So yeah, ayan. What other questions do we have here? We have a lot of compliments here also, Nikki. We have people thanking us, people asking for upcoming webinars. And also, na-send ko na sa chat. So I sent a Mentimeter that Nikki and us here in PWE used to make our presentations more engaging. I also sent the link for Trello for better project management, also better communication within your teams. Pigeonhole is another tool that we use. It provides a very psychologically safe Q&A for any program. You can use this internally, externally. That's totally up to you. And yeah, okay. Do you see any other questions we can zoom in?
Someone asks here about what's a free tool that we can use for making e-portfolios. It really depends on the use. I know the creatives who showcase their artwork, ganyan, their pubs. I know they use something. I'm not familiar with what it is, but I know a lot of people these days are using Canva para may unified look yung portfolio nila. Sometimes if you need to make a rough draft of it, I still recommend the use of Google Slides so you can lay out everything. And then, yeah, explore Canva. But I think, even if you Google best like e-portfolio, that's another thing that will help you discover technology. Technology is always changing. If I recommend something now, I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, iba na yung i-recommend ko sa inyo kasi it's always changing. So keep an open mind and just Google is your friend. So Google it there, try some of those things, try if it's easy to use, try if it showcases your portfolio in the way that you want. When you have those two factors, then you can that will help you decide which is the best e-portfolio use for you.
Ayan. It is great that you mentioned Canva. I sent it in for chat for everyone. And for beautiful presentations, Canva is a great tool. It's free digital tool. And I know this might resonate for some people. if you don't see yourself on the more creative side, very uso na talaga ang templates nowadays. You can use templates so that you can have a really nice design layout, and then you just have to provide the information and the details. So it's a good supporting tool, especially for those na nahihirapan to create beautiful presentation. So I encourage you guys to check that out also. And we even have Marvin and other people sharing other digital slides and tools that they use as well. So thank you for sharing, Marvin.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually asking for more tools. So I was like thinking, Hala, I know there's so many tools that I wanted to introduce to you, but of course we did not have a lot of time. But seeing now that there is some time, right, Alma, we end our webinar at 4:30. Am I getting that?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe there's a time to introduce to you another thing that I explored, seeing that the virtual workspace is here to stay. I will put the link on the chat box and share my screen a little bit so that you can see a little of that demo that they have. So we're doing training and consulting, and I don't want a one-way approach to doing this. I always wanted to make it interactive, collaborative. So one of the tools that we used at one point was actually Kumo Space. Kasi, di ba, in a Zoom breakout room, you will end up speaking only with the people you are with in the breakout room, and there's not a lot of freedom to move. So the nice thing about Kumo Space is you log in, you don't need to download anything. Yung makakausap mo lang ay yung mga people near your circle. So just like what you're seeing on the screen, you can approach people, and when they are within your circle, sila yung maririnig mo. If they are not within your circle, you won't hear them. So you can actually move around virtually on Kumo Space. And that is what allows you to have more dynamic conversations with the people that you want to speak to. I think if I had a little bit more time, this was something that I would have also wanted to show. So thanks for that question. Kumo Space, you can explore it, especially if you are still not meeting people face to face. If your office is still virtual, you can check that out also.
Yeah, this is another very innovative tool that Nikki is presenting. Ako, especially for those workplaces that are still very strictly um, work from home, or done the full adjustment, I feel like they can really benefit from this tool. So, ayan no, Nikki. Nikki, thank you so much. I feel like you answered so much of these questions, and we want to thank everyone also for being so ready to accept these digital tools. I hope that you guys can be messengers in your own way to start using these digital tools, start presenting them to your supervisors and leaders, show them the value, and then very soon we're going to be looking into future workplaces that can really embrace digital tools. So yeah, thank you so much, Nikki. I actually just had a little more stuff I wanted to share with everyone. um, Ayan, we have some people even messaging me, Nikki, personally, that they like the digital tools. They personally like it. They want to present it to their supervisors. They want training. I would like to say that we do indeed offer trainings, especially on digital collaboration training tools. If you feel that your company needs the training, they want to be exposed, because what Nikki did was a very brief rundown on the many collaboration training tools that you can do. But we can go in depth and talk about them with your company if this is something that you're interested in. So in order to do that, please send us an email at learn@positiveworkplaces.com, just so hindi mawala sa chat ang conversation natin. I will personally reach out to you. We can set up a meeting if that's something that you're interested in. So yeah, going back again, Nikki, I want to thank you for such an amazing presentation. Do you have a final piece that you want to mention for everyone?
I just want to say that, using these digital tools, it's really the way of the future. It allows so much freedom and flexibility in the way that we do our work. It allows for so much efficiency. So it's really ideal that you stay open to these use, stay curious about the different digital tools coming up every now and then. And of course, if to convince everyone in your workforce, whether they are young, whether they are older, in this generational workforce, you're gonna convince them to use these tools. Just make sure you always present the benefit and how easy it is to use it, and you're on your way to the start. Sometimes it will take some persistence on your end, but if you persist and always show the benefit and how easy it is to use, then you're on your way to success.
Thank you so much for that, Nikki. Very, very well said. And just repeating again, please follow us on Positive Workplaces on Facebook if you really like the content. And we do way more content than just digital tools. We have many webinar learnings and topics. So if you're interested in that, our tech support sent in our chat the service request form. So any topics that you might be interested in, if you want to have it in your company, just please send us that request and we will try our best to create that service for you. And lastly, I already mentioned it. If you're interested in any other products and services, this is our email. Ayan, it's learn@positiveworkplaces.org. And lastly, we will now be sending the post-evaluation form in the chat. So ayan. We'll be sending it in the chat, but I guess no, Nikki, we can take a picture for everyone. To thank everyone also for attending